Dear children, my relationship with President Trump and the White House is not defined by conflict, but by hope. I hope to meet with the president, not to confront him, but to engage in dialogue. I hope his administration will listen to the voice of the church, but as an ally in the pursuit of justice and peace. In Fratelli Tutti, Pope Francis wrote,
Pope Leo's statement in front of lawmakers and French politicians is striking to me. And the agenda behind all these drafting of laws is Sunday laws. August 23, Pope Leo showed the world his agenda about the New World Order. Here is the prophetic update that you should know. Revelation 17 points to the Roman Catholic system that gives the wine cup of false doctrines to the world and kings and nations. Pope Leo urges the lawmakers and French politicians that they cannot separate faith from their duties. While meeting politicians from France, Pope Leo XIV emphasized the importance of turning to Christ in fulfilling their obligation in government. Leo is using the name of Christ to fulfill Rome's agenda for one world religion. But first, let us watch how he wants to use America to push Laudato Si and Fratelli Tutti agenda, the mandatory day of rest which Francis have started.
As Pope, I offer the mediation of the Holy See to facilitate dialogue among nations, including the United States. My predecessor, Pope Francis, worked tirelessly for peace, and I will continue his legacy. I invite President Trump to join this effort, not as an adversary, but as a brother in the pursuit of a more just world. The administration heeds this message.
Did you catch it, dear friends? Rome needs America to dialogue with America, just as the Pharisees needed the arm of the state to persecute Jesus and the remnant.
Children, my relationship with President Trump and the White House is not defined by conflict, but by hope. I hope to meet with the president, not to confront him, but to engage in dialogue. In Fratelli Tutti, Pope Francis wrote, Dialogue is not a strategy to achieve goals, but a path to discover the truth. Fratelli Tutti 198. This is the spirit that will guide my relationship with the White House.
The unholy alliance is in the forming stage. Crooksnow.com says, speaking in front of lawmakers and French politicians, Leo says, the first and only advice I will give you is to unite yourselves more and more to Jesus, to live by him and bear witness to him, Leo said. He is really using the name of Christ for their agenda. There is no separation in the personality of a public figure. There is not the politician on one side and the Christian on the other, but there is the politician who, under the gaze of God and his conscience, live out his commitments and responsibilities in a Christian manner. So what are these commitments and responsibility that Leo is pushing to lawmakers? The pontiff told the French officials that they are called to strengthen themselves in faith, to deepen their understanding of the doctrine, especially the social doctrine that Jesus taught the world, and to put into praxis, here it is, dear friends, in the exercise of your responsibility and in the drafting of laws. So when they make laws for the land, always include Sunday worship in the Eucharist. When you draft laws, it is your commitment to the Roman Catholic system to put it first and include it as a priority. Drafting of laws, Sunday laws.
My predecessor, Pope Francis, and I will continue his legacy. My predecessor, Pope Francis, and I will continue his legacy. And I will continue his legacy.
Leo often mentions that he will continue what his predecessor Francis have started. that all religions are a path to God.
Ma Dio è Dio per tutti.
But God is God for all.
E come Dio è Dio per tutti, noi siamo tutti figli di Dio.
And if God is God for all, then we're all sons and daughters of God.
Ma il mio Dio è più importante del tuo.
But my God is more important than your God.
È vero quello?
Is that true?
C'è un solo Dio lì. E noi sono idiomi, cammino, lingue per arrivare a Dio.
There's only one God, and each of us is a language, so to speak, in order to arrive at God.
Qualcuno è Sikh, qualcuno musulmano, qualcuno
Sikh, Muslim,
Hindi, qualcuno cristiano,
Hindu,
ma sono
Christian.
diversi cammini.
There are different paths. Because every religion is a way to arrive at God. Because every religion is a way to arrive at God.
And I will continue his legacy. And I will continue his legacy. I invite President Trump to join this effort.
Rome marks the 10th anniversary of Laudato Si by urging every level of society to embrace the Pope's message. August 14, 2025. Bishop John Arnold published a lengthy statement for the 10th anniversary of Laudato Si, calling for action. He said and reminded the public that both Pope Francis and Pope Leo XIV have emphasized the urgency of addressing the climate crisis, claiming it to be something we cannot simply ignore. On August 23, 2025, in his remarks to the International Catholic Legislators Network, Pope Leo XIV welcomed again lawmakers. His target are lawmakers and described their vocation as a sacred mission. He praised their team, the New World Order, major power politics, corporate dominions, and the future of human flourishing, and expressed concern about the state of the world. He pointed to St. Augustine as a model. CNN News. Robert Prevost, now Pope Leo XIV, is a member of the Augustinian religious order. Now watch this. This says that the Augustinian order, also known as the Order of the Augustinian, is a mendicant order of the Catholic Church. What does that mean? What happened during the 13th century? What was the name of the chief reformer who was called the Morning Star of the Reformation before even Martin Luther came into the scene? John Wycliffe. Who opposed John Wycliffe? Who persecuted John Wycliffe? The Augustinian mendicant friars. Great controversy. Let's read with me. Another evil against which the reformer waged long and resolute battle was the institution of the orders of the mendicant friars. These friars swarm in England, casting a blot upon the greatness and prosperity of the nation. The youth were demoralized and corrupted by the influence of the friars. Great controversy, page 82. Wycliffe, reading on, Wycliffe now taught the distinctive doctrines of Protestantism. The kingdom of darkness trembled. Mendicant friars, such as Pope Leo XIV, who swarmed in England, listened in anger and amazement to his bold, eloquent utterances. The hatred of Rome was kindled to greater intensity, and again she plotted to silence the reformer's voice. Dear friends, Pope Leo XIV right now belongs to the order of the mendicant friars. And what is the progenitor of the mendicant friars? Answer: to overthrow Protestantism. It's the same as the Jesuit movement. Jeremiah chapter 13 verse 23 says, "The leopard cannot change its parts, neither can you do good who is accustomed to do evil." Dear friends, we are witnessing the growing influence of Roman Catholicism on legislation. Pope Leo's appeal is a direct invitation for lawmakers to infuse public policy with Catholic principles. While framed in terms of human flourishing, solidarity, and peace, such language often conceals Rome's long-standing agenda of uniting church and state under its moral authority. Drafting of laws they are talking about now, dear friends. There is a foreshadowing of the coming crisis described in Revelation 13, where political powers, the beast and the image of the beast, enforce religious mandates under the guise of promoting the good of society. Dearest friends, when lawmakers and legislators begins embedding their doctrines into civil law, issues such as Sunday's sacred mass, the Eucharistic Mass, and the ecological mandates and other church traditions will ultimately result in enforced worship. In short, Pope Leo XIV's address reflects a clear push towards the revival of the papacy, a system where civil legislation enforces religious values. This speech is another sign that the world is moving rapidly toward the prophetic scene scenario of Revelation 13, where union of church and state will demand obedience to man-made tradition above the Word of God. Will you bow to them, dear friends? Or your allegiance will stay on the Lord? Kindly type, our decisions today, my allegiance is in Jesus. Thank you, dear friends. Kindly share and continue to preach truth found in Bible prophecy.